yeah, today I present disassociating language and thought in large language models. Yeah, yes. The author's claim is very simple. The 2 points. So that's also claiming that to highlight the conceptual distinction between formal and functional linguistic competence, and to demonstrate the gap between LLM's formal and functional linguistic abilities. I think this is all. And the following sections are all examples to support this claim. So first, the authors start their discussion, the good at language and good at thought fallacy. This fallacy means that we tend to think the agent who are good at language can be good at thought, and conversely, the agent who are good at thought can be good at language. So imagine Doraemon. So we tend to think Doraemon have emotion or thought and even consciousness because he is very good at using language and good at communication. But the authors pointed out that these two processes should be differentiate each other. Especially good linguistic competence should be separate from 2 points. So one is formal linguistic competence and other is a functional linguistic competence. Formal linguistic competence means the set of capacities required to produce and comprehend the given language. And functional linguistic competence means a competent language user uses language to accomplish a goal in the world. This is a summary of the two competence, linguistic and functional competence of languages. Yeah, so they would like to make a clear distinction these two abilities. So because the motivation of distinction is one is a language network in the brain. So language is robustly disassociated from the rest of high-level cognition, such as reasoning or mathematics skills or so on. Yeah. So yes. In recent recent years, there are many papers who has similar claims. This is a paper I presented for another paper I presented for Journal Club. This paper, the claim is very similar to this paper. So language is primary tool of communication rather than thought. These two aspects should be differentiated. Yeah, so the authors give some examples. For example, the language network responds reliably when people listen to read or generate sentences, but not when they perform mathematic tasks or engage in logical reasoning, understanding computer programs, listen to music, categorize objects and events, reason about people's mental states are kind of mind reading or process of nonverbal communicative information such as facial expressions or gestures. These are language network did not respond these actions or processes. So LLM they also claimed that LLM have largely mastered formal type of linguistic competence. So you know LLM, LLM models are statistical language models. So LLMs are typically first trained on training set constructed from massive amount of text data from the web. So LLM and LLM have a simple objective. So predict held out token. Yeah. So LLM can have a representation of formal linguistic competence. So hierarchical structure such as agreement with verbs, and linguistic abstractions such as part of speech constructions, layer construction. LLMs can learn that some layer constructions are grammatical and others are not. Yes. Um, Yes, and also stress that this such LLMs formal competence are very consistent to human language network. So some studies claim that LLMs are predictive of activity in the human language network in the brain. So yeah, actually, recent years, there are so many studies that point out the correspondence between brain network and LLM network is formal linguistic competence. And on the other hand, what LLM is not good at. So no LLMs fall short on functional linguistic competence. The first example is formal reasoning. So kind of logic or mathematical reasoning or physical reasoning and so on. So humans, formal reasoning engages brain regions known as the multiple demand network. So yeah, sorry. Um, yeah, this kind of multiple demand network covers varied high level cognition process. Yeah, but independent from language network. So on the other hand, LLMs limitations on tasks requiring formal reasoning. For example, math problems, especially large digit mathematical operations. I checked some calculation with ChatGPT before this meeting. They are very close to the correct answer, but they missed 1 point. Yeah. The second example is word model. First example word model is factual and common sense knowledge in LLM. So in humans, researchers pointed out this association between linguistic and word knowledge. For example, individuals who suffer from semantic dementia retain the ability to speak out, but struggle with tasks that rely on word knowledge. So some patient can speak, some can speak well, but have difficulty to respond pumpkins. What is color of pumpkins? That is when it is hard to respond the common sense knowledge or world knowledge. On the other hand, LLMs routinely generate false statements about our knowledge, known as hallucinations, or LLM's outputs are often inconsistent. The same prompt phrased in different ways can elicit different responses. The reason is that their training objective is to generate plausible sentence constitutions with no reference to the underlying factual correctness of the result claims in the outside world. And importantly, this is maybe more important, common sense knowledge is often underrepresented in the language corpus. So people are much more likely to communicate a new or unusual information, but rarely represents the common sense knowledge. So LLMs cannot learn the common sense knowledge from the corpus. And the second example of world model is situation tracking. Situation modeling means, for example, human can follow the plot of the story that spans multiple chapters or even multiple books. So we human can integrate the information separately placed into one entities in the same situation or context. It is said to be very difficult for LLMs. So LLMs can deal with separated place information with cutting window. For example, sentence or phrases or sounds and so on. But with a robust situation model building over shorter span, such as sentence or paragraph, is feasible using LLM-only architecture. This is under controversial theme in LLM study. So because this is because increasing the model's context will run into computational challenges. So more bigger the window comes to, and amount of computation is increases more and more. So a human-like solution to this problem might include hierarchical processing, a sentence, a paragraph, or chapters, something like that, is now investigated by a computer scientist. Finally, social reasoning is also difficult for LLM. So humans, the theory of mind network, this means a set of brain regions that are engaged when the owner is attempting to infer someone's mental state. This mind network is independent from language. Sorry, yeah, this is something like that. This is language network area and theory of mind network area. This is separated. Sorry. So, but successful language understanding, including jokes, sarcasm, indirect speech, and conversational implication, relies on the broader non-language specific social inference skills. But this is very difficult for LLMs. LLM can reach human or near-human performance at least some pragmatic tasks, but LLM's ability to solve theory of mind tasks has been subject to particular controversy. In recent years, there are so many papers which investigate whether LLMs can understand the theory of mind. Some claim that it's possible, but others that it's impossible. Yeah. Anyway, it requires both social knowledge and ability to maintain a situation model, a situation model like this. So imagine the study problem. The problem requires the big window to retain the memory in the first scene and the second scene and the other scenes. So this is very difficult for LLM. Yeah. So sorry. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So, and it is no time. So let's go things to discuss. So I think so. Reading paper, I thought that previous studies on language and thought in my field have highlighted that language structure have strong influence on thought, or for example, colors or numbers. But in recent 1 or 2 years, there are so many studies which highlighted that or stress that the distinction between the skills of language and thought, they are independent. So it's my kind of shocking. So now I have to rethinking what is language and thought problem. So in recently, Taniguchi-san and Tsuya-san, Oizumi-san, Hori-san, and I presented the paper of Korean levels. So it claims that they are base level, intermediate level, high level. I think the influence of language can be seen in high level and intermediate level. So yeah, in reading this paper, I found that depending on whether formal or functional competence, the Korean level that can be influenced by language may be different. Yeah, in my impression, that's this story over time.
Okay, thank you, Saji-san. So, do you have any question, comments?
Can I?
Okay.
First impression that I had when I was reading their distinction between a functional and
Yeah.
what is it formal
Yeah.
thank you, formal competence is that it's mostly correspond to the Chomsky's idea of distinction between like the competence and performance, and it seems that formal competence, they're saying that it corresponds to the language competence of Chomsky's idea, and performance corresponds to the functional competence in this paper. So I don't see any difference. I mean, it seems kind of Stallman's argument, because Chomsky's idea is that kind of that this functional competence, as saying it's kind of merged now in the language function or human language function. It's more the Chomsky think that more like syntactic, making syntactic structure or kind of formal competence as a essential and language function. So it seems that the definition of language is different between like Chomsky, what Chomsky is saying and this paper is saying, and he said their argument is kind of they criticize kind of different idea. They made a different definition of the language, like the distinction of like formal competence and functional competence, and criticize this based on their distinction.
Yeah, I also found that yeah, there are great similarity between this the claim by authors and Chomsky's distinction. So formal and functional, yeah. Yes, the difference between the two is, yeah, let me see. Yeah, but Chomsky's formal competence, that the competence of language is said to be innate, right?
Mm.
Yeah, so LAD, so he said language acquisition device from integrated in the innate program. But in this context, formal competence is formal competence includes kind of statistical learning. So learning from distribution of language, so very domain general skills. I think it is great difference between Chomsky's competence and this formal competence in this paper. Yeah, that it makes sense.
Yes, that makes more clearer of the distinction. Yeah, yes, Chomsky did not do not think that statistical learning is
Yeah, this
included in.
yes, the formal competence in this context is very broad meaning. I think that it includes kind of such as statistical learning, or kind of innate process of language processing, something like that. So a very broad coverage the formal competence have in this paper. Yeah. Other comment or questions?
Oh, can I?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
thanks for your clear presentation. It's really helpful to understand this paper. So I understand the distinction between this formal and functional language skills in adults, but do you think whether this can be applied to like child development? For example, language skill is closely related to the theory of mind, or social reasoning can, boost language development, right?
Yeah,
So
Mhm.
there can be overlap between these kind of skills in at least early childhood. So this, I'm not sure whether this can be applied to all human in, every developmental stages. So what do you think about?
Yeah, actually, these authors discuss about the developmental problems. So as you say, actually, language acquisition influence the other cognitive skills in children in developmental stage. So I think so the influence language can influence the more general cognitive process. I think this is true, and it is consistent and it's not contradictions against the claim in the paper. So sorry. So I share the part. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, and the paper I've shared the yeah. Yes, authors discuss the points around here. So so babies learn new conceptual categories more easily when they are accompanied by linguistic levels. And children with delayed language access have delayed social reasoning abilities. So even in adulthood, the knowledge of specific number words predicts the ability to conceptually represent exact numbers. So this is a Pirahaz studies. So this distinction between formal and functional linguistic competence does not is so yeah
Apply
so
to every
yes,
human.
does not conflict to the discussion of language and thought, as the language can influence the general cognitive skills. So, but these authors claim is to think they are independent process, but they are independent process, but can influence each other. So I think how can I integrate the previous discussion on language and thought and this kind of distinction between linguistic formal and functional competence or competence. So yeah, that's my yeah.
So Saji-san before thought that very dependent between language and thought, but now you a little bit seems to independent. You are now.
Yeah, but
You are last right.
yeah. I think they are basically independent because one can influence the other. It means that the two is independent because they're
I see.
if they are same, it cannot be influenced because they're basically same. So
Okay.
yes, but I have a less attention to how distinguish the two language and thought. We focus on how language influence the thought, but how distinguish the two aspects of language and thought. So Yes, I think it is interesting. So LLM can provide new perspectives on the study of so language and thought, I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Excellent.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Sorry.
just my comment. Yeah. So I'm very surprised that LLM or ChatGPT do incorrect mathematical calculation. So and in human, right? I know we have the metacognition, first order cognition and second order like metacognition and monitoring our correctness or our thought, right? So how about these LLM or ChatGPT? So I mean, like for human, we have some detection errors and something before of our response, right? But how about LLM or these ChatGPT? They can have these monitoring like metacognition or something.
I think they also I'm not specialty in LLM architecture, but the authors will respond the question that LLMs that have difficulty to have metacognition because they claim that they are very difficult with situation tracking, you know. So they're very difficult with a Sarian problem or kind of inferring the state of mind because the task requires very long windows, the context into the consideration. But LLM is a very only deal with a short window to expect the answer. So metacognition requires kind of some long-term long span short-term memory, right? So it is I think it is LLMs have difficulty to deal with the kind of problems. Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
Do you have something, Nakai-san?
Yes, I have some comment on there are also previous studies, including my studies, showing that shared neural brain activity for language and mathematics. But I think I can, or that's not contradictory to this paper because I mainly focus on the formal competence. I mean, grammatical or syntactic processing in mathematics and language. In terms of that, I think that the language and other symbol sequences are similar in the processing and also consistent with the LLM performance. But it seems that the authors think that the communication and the functional competence is more important in language. That is why they think conclude in this way.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so we will finish today's session, right? Okay. Thank you for Saji-san and also Nakai-san.